morning, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive. Today, we are honored to honor a distinguished economist, a visionary policymaker who served as the governor for the Reserve Bank of India from 2008 to 2013. He steered India's economy through one of its most challenging periods, the global financial crisis. His leadership not only shielded India from the worst of the crisis, but also offers timeless lessons for global policymakers across the world. Dr. Subba Rao, it's an honor, truly an honor to have you here with us, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks. Wonderful to be here in Krishna Jayanti College.
Yes. What do you think of our institution?
It's a great institution. As I was telling the students during my address, the vibes you can feel as soon as you enter the college
Yes.
premises. And when I entered the hall, the energy I could see, the mind space, 1,100 students there. It was fantastic feeling.
Yes. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. We quickly dive into the questions. So during the crisis, you reduced India's interest rates sharply. So how did you balance the need to stimulate growth with the risks of inflation, especially when global central banks are adopting a more unconventional policies?
See, the global financial crisis was a once in a generation event.
Hmm.
uh, when the global financial system came to a near death experience. Global economy was going into, or there was fear that it's going into a recession, probably as deep as the Great Depression of the 1930s. It was a difficult time for policymakers, governments, central bankers, regulators everywhere. Markets, financial markets were seized with fear and panic.
Yes.
Uh, Ordinary people were worried about their money. Central bankers, policymakers were bewildered about what's to be done.
Right.
The crisis, which originated in the US, ricocheted around the world, affected virtually every country in the world, affected India too.
Right.
Uh, our growth crashed, uh, rupee dived, financial markets went into a dizzy,
Mhm.
banks were getting anxious. So a difficult time for us about what's to be done. So our primary responsibility, our primary objective at that time was that we must maintain stability,
Mhm.
ensure that our financial markets function properly and regularly, and that credit continues to flow to productive sectors of the economy.
Right.
For that purpose, we cut interest rate by as much as a 1 percentage point. We did some unconventional things too.
Right.
The unconventional monetary policy, people associate that with central banks of rich countries, like
Mhm.
they did quantitative easing, they did balance sheet adjustment, etc. But even here, in India, we did unconventional things like providing lines of credit
Mhm.
to mutual funds, non-bank finance companies. We asked or exhorted banks to give forbearance
Mhm.
to sectors which are affected by the crisis. We cut interest rate by as much as 1 percentage point. So we did our own share of unconventional things, and India fortunately recovered from the crisis
Yes.
sooner than most other emerging economies.
Yes. Could I would like to, could you briefly explain the theory of Trinity for me, please? Because the theory of the new trilemma of the central bankers is what you call the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it has to do with the price stability, the financial stability, and the
Sovereign debt
yeah, the
system.
sovereign debt. Yes, the country's
Yeah,
debt. Yes. So could you please explain how that is better, or how that can be implemented across other economies rather than the
yeah.
conventional impossible Trinity?
It's a difficult question, especially challenging to answer in a TV interview like this, but I will do my best, which is that the impossible trinity,
Mhm.
taken from Mundell's textbook Theory of Impossible Trinity, says that no economy can at the same time have a fixed exchange rate, an open capital account, and independent monetary policy. It's got to give up on one of them in order to enjoy the other two.
Mhm.
Typically, advanced economies give up on a fixed exchange rate. Their exchange rates are flexible, with the result that they have open capital account and their central banks enjoy monetary policy independence. Emerging economies such as India, we don't go for corner solutions, we go for middle solutions. We give up a little bit on each of these, a little bit on independence of central bank, a little bit on open capital account, a little bit on exchange rate, and manage the impossible trinity through middle solutions. What it means is that our exchange rates are flexible, but only partly so. Our capital accounts are open, but partly so. We enjoy monetary policy independence, but only partly so. So the Holy Trinity is taken from this impossible trinity in the context of the European sovereign debt crisis, where people said that you can't have the Holy Trinity at the same time, that you cannot have sovereign debt sustainability, exchange rate stability, and price stability at the same time.
Yes.
But that was misinformed. So I argued that it is quite possible to manage the Holy Trinity. It's quite possible to have all three of them, provided governments and central banks act with determination and with correct balancing of the policy matrix.
Right. Right. So those were all the important questions that I had. Thank you so much for joining us at Christo Jayanti College and giving us your talk up on leadership and the main points and main lessons that you learned. So that's another episode of Deep Dive. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Aman Matthew, and stay tuned for more episodes.
Thank you, Aman.